Welcome to day 5 of the 12 days of whiskey. I am Bologna. I am part of the Chicago Sports Bums, and we are self-proclaimed bourbon bums. Last year in this series, I gave you guys some bottom shelf bangers, which were bottles that I thought were fairly affordable, but still very, very good. And this year, I felt like I wanted to step it up just a notch, but still give you guys some recommendations for some bottles that won't break the bank. Some budget-friendly bottles that won't have you shelling out, half of a mortgage payment or your car payment, or your kids' tuition or lunch or whatever you. Um so yeah, all of the bottles I'll recommend today are gonna be under $50. I just recently did the Michter's Toasted Barrel Strength rye yesterday, and I talked about it being MSRP $125. That's not affordable for everyone, and even $50 isn't affordable. So if you guys are looking for some lower shelf options, bottom shelf options, go back and watch the video I did last year. I have it linked in this description for this video, but today everything's under 50 bucks and everything should be readily available. So I want to start off with a product coming out of the Buffalo Trace distillery. Everybody goes crazy for any Buffalo Trace product, and I've got Benchmark Foolproof. Benchmark Foolproof is their mash bill one, um, lower priced product, and that means it's the same mash bill as Stag or EH Taylor or Eagle Rare, just aged a little bit lower and not the best barrels, but still very good. So what I like to do with this is the bottle I like to use whenever I am making a Manhattan or an old fashioned, or if I'm mixing anything, because it's still 125 proof. So if I put it on ice, if I mix it with things, I'm still getting a full flavor of the bourbon that I'm drinking, and it's 26.99. So I can't recommend that enough. It's fairly, fairly, I mean, that's the cheapest bottle I have on this list, but like I said, everything's going to be under 50 bucks. The next one is a bottle that, if you're familiar with my channel or this channel, you're familiar with me in general. I can't stop talking about this bottle, so I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's the Redwood Empire, the Last Monarch, the Bull Rye. I love Bull Ryes. I feel like distilleries should be making more Bull Ryes. I know Wild Turkey had Unforgotten and Unforgiven and every other one, but you can't find them. You just can't. They're not available. Redwood Empire Lost Monarch is one of my favorite. I say it's one of my favorite summer whiskeys. It's fairly crushable, and that comes in at $32.99 per bottle, and also should be more available. The Redwood Empires, you're gonna have to look for just a little bit more. It'll be in your liquor store, like your bigger boxed liquor stores. It might not be at a smaller mom and pop shop, or it might not be in the grocery stores, but you will be able to find it in bigger box liquor stores. Next one up is one of my favorite bottles that I like to recommend to people either just getting into whiskey or just looking for a good bottle at a decent price that you could have on your shelf and, give it to guests, give it to friends and family. And that's Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, 7-year-old bottle and bond product coming out of the Heaven Hill distillery. And I like to use the term a bourbon fastball, and that's exactly what this is. This is your classic bourbon notes: caramel, vanilla, just a little bit of oak from the 7-year age dated bourbon. And if you like the Elijah Craig barrel proof stuff, and Heaven Hill is distilling all of that stuff. It's just a little bit lower, and that bottle is $42.99 at Binny's currently. So I know that bottle of Heaven Hill, I'll bring it back out for you guys. This bottle went away for a little while. It started to become allocated maybe about 2 years ago. Started seeing it for 65, even $70. That's not the price point that this should be at. I like that now this year, you're able to see it more often at the grocery stores, at your local liquor stores, and at the big box stores. And I love it at the $42.99, $45.99, even like $49.99 price point. When it started getting up to $60, $70 and people were putting it behind the counters and, kind of allocating it, that's not what this bottle should be. And I like that you're able to see it more often. I didn't really plan on, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get rid of these boxes because I don't trust these fake ass Christmas presents that I have. Let's do that. Let's get rid of this. Start stacking them this way. See, like I mentioned in the last video, this is all one take, baby. Better? Still don't trust it. We'll see. Let's keep going. All right, next bottle I have for you guys. Again, big distillery, big name distillery, Four Roses single barrel. Four Roses single barrel is obviously a single barrel product coming out of the Four Roses distillery. This, whenever I give people recommendations, I get super floral, super spicy notes out of it. Every so often, they're fruity, but I get more like not herbal, but like floral and spices to this, and it's really, really good. And this is, where am I putting these goddamn bottles? That is $45.99. Next one up, I gave a raving review about a lot of new Riff products over the summer, and these new Riff single barrels are bangers. $49.99. Sometimes you could find new Riff store picks for $49.99. Usually they're in the $55 to $60 price range, but a lot of the times at the big box liquor stores, they're on sale as picks for $49.99-ish. I love this. I love everything New Riffs is doing. They're a newer distillery, and I feel like they're doing things the right way. They have fresh ideas. They're not stuck in old ways. So, we love talking about the legacy distilleries, and I'm one of them, Buffalo Trace and Heaven Hill and Wild Turkey and stuff like that. But it's always good to give shout out to the new guys because there's some really good stuff. I'm going to put this off to the side because I don't. And the last one, speaking about new people doing good things, Bardstown Bourbon Company. They've been around now for the better part of a decade, 12 years, I believe. And they came out with their Origin series this year. And I said, this is some of the best new whiskey out there. They're both their wheated mash bill and their regular high rye mash bill. I love everything Bardstown does. I like the transparency in everything they do, where they source their barrels from. When they blend things, they're wide open and letting you know everything that goes into their whiskey. And now in this, with their own distillate, they'll tell you the mash bill. They'll tell you how much it's aged, and they're fairly transparent on everything. And I said they released this year, and they were hyped and hard to find in the beginning. Now you're able to find both of these bottles. And I said the wheat and mash bill, it'll give all the hyped up Wellers back here a run for its money. And at $49.99 and $44.99 and $49.99, they're great values and something that you could have on your shelves all year long. And that's what we got. I mean, we can't always be chasing the unicorns, the hype and all that stuff. You need, blue collar bottles out there that are going to give you everything you need. So those are my budget friendly bottles for this year. I do like doing more of like I don't know, what would I call it? Like I just said blue collar, but more of like the readily available stuff. Now, granted, I know the 12 days of whiskey, I'm going to get down to my final fives or so, and I'm going to be doing my favorite bottles of the year. Those are going to be harder to find. So got to give you guys a little bit of balance of both. But going forward into the new year, I don't want to just keep doing, rare and allocated and this and stuff like that. I do want to get more into stuff that anybody could drink, anybody could find, and even like newer distilleries, like I talked about, New Riff, and there's a lot of new people doing really good stuff. So in the upcoming year, I want to make it a point to talk about that. But for now, I'll leave you. I got a little bit of the Bardstown wheated product, and I'll leave you with a cheers, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 6 of the 12 days of whiskey. Thanks, guys.